Hi, my name is Karina Akito. I'm the managing editor of Canadian Auto Dealer, and I'm here today with Wei Fan and David McKay of the RVI Group, which provides a residual value insurance to companies like OEMs. Today's discussion will be based on what's being said in the industry, certain industry experts, including Ford and GM, about the idea that the shift from ICE vehicles to electric vehicles may not have such a negative impact on ICE vehicles. So there will be an impact on ICE vehicles. And so Wei or Dave maybe can jump in and kind of discuss maybe the basics of what these experts in the industry are saying and what the story is behind that.
Yes, this is a way. Yeah, this is an interesting time. And I definitely agree with GM and Ford and probably most of the experts in the industry that the EV is very likely is inevitable, and that's we are in fully into this transition period, and how the residual value is going to behave, ICE and the current generation of EV is it's a challenge question to everyone. And I would say that there's a very good chance that the ICE vehicle residual value will be challenged, when the electric vehicle becomes a more superior product. So I'm as we have seen historically, when a product becomes as inferior substitutes, their used value is going to suffer. So I'm not as confident as some of the experts that are thinking that the ICE vehicle residual is actually increased when this transition is in a full motion.
So there are several companies that have a lot of confidence that there will not be a negative impact on the residual values of ICE vehicles. And I understand that your stance is different from that. So maybe you can tell me a bit more about that as well.
Well, it makes, by the way, Dave McKay, I'm Vice President of Business Development and Sales. As EVs go up in share, and we've seen this in other places, as vehicles become more popular, the ones they replace become less popular. So you have a behavioral shift, and this behavioral shift translates into pricing shift. The value that you have for one vehicle that's in demand is going to be higher than a vehicle that's in less demand. So it's just basic economics. This isn't advanced science. This isn't something that you have to lay out. We do think, though, that when you have a shift of the magnitude potentially coming up, that it's something that I think all participants in the market have to pay attention to. We don't know when it's going to happen. We don't know how fast it is, but it looks like it is going to happen. And when that shift comes, people who have large ICE portfolios will find those portfolios not performing as well as they have in the past. At least that is our estimate. And I look to Wei to provide most of the numbers and do most of the analysis as the leader of our group. He's been doing this for almost 25 years of nothing but valuations of vehicles. So and we've navigated through the ups, the downs of these cycles. We've never seen anything that has the potential to be this big.
We did, this is a way, we did look at the shift, in consumers' preference from sedans to SUVs. And in the past about 15 years, we saw there's a gap of 20%, between SUVs and the sedans. When that's just emerged when consumers started to like SUVs. I would think that this transition from ICE to EVs can be more dramatic. It could have a gap between of more than 20% between EVs and ICE vehicle in the future.
So maybe you can also tell us what this means for dealers. Why should they care? How will this impact them, or to what extent? So what do they really need to know about it, or what do they need to know more about this situation in general?
I think that dealers have, in the short term, this isn't going to impact them. Right now, the things that dealers are most concerned about is making sure that they have chips in vehicles so they can sell them. And I understand that. But dealers are more sophisticated than ever. They're long-term players. They have long-term investments. And to the extent that they get hit by the financial downsides of this, as it could, if their make isn't well positioned, if their captive isn't well positioned, if they have skin in the game. So, again, I don't see this as we don't see this as a near-term issue. In fact, the near-term issues might be more around what's the appropriate residual for an EV in a market where EVs are technologies continuously getting better and better. And how do we do a better job educating these new consumers about this new vehicle? But in the longer term, I do believe that dealers have skin in the game, and it's as an interested partner to the OEMs and their captives. I think that they'll be concerned and want to make sure that the OEMs and captives are taking that into consideration, because I think together, whenever the OE and the captive work together with the dealer, you end up with much better solutions.
So your company offers residual value insurance to companies like OEMs. And so some OEMs and other experts in the industry are saying one thing, and that your company has a different opinion now, because of your company could be seen as maybe having a bit of a biased opinion, or just maybe you can go and explain to us why your opinion is different. And if you have any data to back that up, or additional information that you can give more context to this.
I'll jump in on that. First off, as we've discussed, there's not hardcore or data about 2025 or 2030. So the future is unknown. It's a risk. It's based on what you estimate. We're in the business. If we see the risk as being so great, then we got to put a huge premium on things, which makes the insurance unaffordable. On the other hand, if we're unrealistic, we make it say Pollyannish, we end up having a situation where we underprice what the true risk is. So we're not constrained. We have constraints on us from both sides. Don't want to overestimate. Don't want to underestimate. And that's why. And we also have a different perspective because, we're unlike dealers where every day it's what's going on that day. We make or decide our future today by what our policies are, and they stay in place, and we have those vehicles for a long period of time. So we started this whole investigation and analysis trying to make sure that we were doing right for our policies, that we were meeting our fiduciary responsibilities. And then what we realized that there was this dialogue that was all on the one side of the issue, which is, everything is, kind of pen glass. Everything's going to be fabulous. Both sides. I've heard this at a recent conference where people were telling me that, I think that residual values will go up for both EVs and ICE vehicles. Well, this basic economics doesn't make sense to me perfectly, and again, we're estimating. I think we should be taken as a cautionary note. But yeah, we do sell residual value insurance, and we are part of a solution. And when there is turbulence in a market, insurance can make more sense to help mitigate the risk. And so we have a risk perspective. Do you have any other comments on that?
Yes, just historically, forecasting residual value is a difficult task. Even in the past 20 years, the auto industry is in a relatively stable, state. and the residual value forecast can still be quite off. So we would say that doing a residual value forecast for EVs and ICE vehicle over the next 5 to 10 years is going to be very, very difficult. And we do not, as an insurance company, our base forecast is want to be very accurate, but we fully aware that it's just impossible to be, within a 1% or 2%. But our business to look at, how much volatility it might have on what is the downside risk there is associated with the forecast, and we will help the industry to weather through that downside, scenario when it happens.
Perfect. Well, Wei and Dave, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview today. And I'm sure this will be of much interest to dealers. So with that, I wish you both a great day and lots of safety during this difficult period.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Talking with you.